My article this week is about Manipur and the conflict that it has been dealing with. A highly important issue, but also a very, very sensitive issue. It was on May 13, 2026, that six Naga civilians were abducted from the Leilon Vaiphei village in Manipur's Kangpokpi district. Their bodies were recovered after weeks, but they bore the brunt of the torture. The Kuki-Zo Council publicly apologized and called it a grave mistake, but the All Naga Student Association rejected the apology, insisting that reconciliation cannot begin until those responsible are brought to justice. The tragic episode highlights a broader reality. Apologies cannot restore peace. Accountability has to be fixed. But it also raises a deeper question that Manipur must answer. Where have all the weapons been coming from that have been used in the conflict, that have been used in these killings? The answer lies in the thousands of firearms that were looted in 2023, right at the outset of the conflict. Although security forces have recovered many of those uh, weapons, but there are still a substantial amount that remain in the hands of village defense groups, militias, insurgent groups, as well as some civilians. As long as these weapons are and remain outside the control of the state, lasting peace will be impossible. Manipur today is trapped in what political scientists call a security dilemma. One community arms itself for protection, the other community feels threatened and does the same. Each side believes it is acting defensively, and collectively, everyone becomes less secure. Trust disappears, and every weapon in civilian hands increases the likelihood of another tragedy and the conflict continuing. This is not unique to Manipur. History offers important lessons. Let's look at Northern Ireland. The 1998 Good Friday Agreement, a major political breakthrough, but peace only became durable after the Irish Republican Army decommissioned its weapons under the international verification in 2005. Political agreements alone were not enough. Removing guns was equally important. Another part of the world, in Colombia, decades of conflict involving FARC was only brought to an end after a comprehensive program of disarmament, dismobilization, and reintegration gave former fighters, insurgents, a way back into society. But why look that further? You look at closer to home. Assam's third Bodo Peace Accord succeeded because negotiations were followed by the surrender of weapons and the rehabilitation of militants. Bodoland's experience shows that when communities are willing to come together, are willing to show courage, to politically engage as well as lay down their weapons and welcome rehabilitation, that peace is possible. The case of BTC may not be perfect, but it's working. The lesson from all these cases is clear. Peace does not begin after complete trust is established. Trust comes through credible institutions, it comes through monitored disarmament, it comes through assurance that every community will be protected equally by the state. That is why restoring the state's monopoly over the legitimate use of force must become the government's highest priority. Disarmament cannot simply mean collecting weapons, it must be accompanied by economic opportunities, it must be accompanied by rehabilitation, impartial justice, strong security guarantees, so that no community feels that it has been abandoned, no community feels insecure, and no community feels that the establishment may be acting in a biased way. At the same time, the porous India Myanmar border must have continued vigilance. Illicit arms trafficking, narcotics trafficking must be countered. Disarmament within Manipur must be therefore matched by efforts to stop new weapons from coming into the state. There must be repercussion for any illicit activity. Ultimately, every weapon left in civilian hands is another conflict waiting to happen. Every militia that replaces the authority of the state makes reconciliation more difficult and prolongs the suffering of ordinary people, because we all know it is the ordinary person, the ordinary civilian that is affected more than anybody else during conflicts. Northern Ireland, FARC, Bodoland took decades of negotiations before lasting peace took hold. The journey of Manipur and the peace agreement will take time to bring everybody on the table, may take time to negotiate, may take time, but it is also critical that it begins. History teaches us one enduring lesson: peace is not secured by those who hold weapons. It is secured by those who have the courage to lay them down and to ensure that nobody ever has to pick it up. Here is wishing Manipur a peaceful future.